Back, so start chanting. 15 stanza. Huh? Om Jnana-yakyena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate. All of you have your voice muted, I think. You can unmute yourself.
ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते
Ekatvena pritaktvena bahuda vishvato mukam.
एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम्
Aham kraturaham yajnaha स्वताहमहमौषधम्
अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञः स्वदाहमहमौषधम्
मन्त्रोऽहमहमहमहमहवे वाच्यम् अहं कृत् अहं निग् अहं निर् अहं निगृहं हुतम्. There's a typo here. Let me just check. Okay. Can you chant that, please?
अग्निर्सर्ग
Yeah. Here it is. There was a bit of something on top of it. Aham nir. Agniraham hutam is what it should be, but something else is written here. Okay, please
Aham
chant.
agniraham hudam, sir.
Yeah, correct. There same thing was written on top of it. Okay, please come. Mantro hamahame. Please chant.
मन्त्रोऽहमहमेवाज्ञम् अहम् अग्निरहं हुतम्
Pitahamasya jagato mata thata pitamahaha.
पिताहमस्य जगतो माता धाता पितामहः
पितामहः
Vedhyam pavitramomkara riksamaya cha.
वेद्यं
वेद्यं
पवित्रम् ओङ्कार
पवित्रमोङ्कारसामयजुरेव च
ऋक्सामयजुरेव च
Gatir bharta prabhuk sakshi nivasa sharanam suhrit.
गतिर्भर्ता
गतिर्दत्ता
प्रभुसाक्षी
प्रभुसाक्षी निवास शरणं
शरणं
सुहृत्
सुहृत्
Prabhava pralayasthanam nidhanam bijamavyayam.
प्रभव
प्रभवप्रलयस्थानं
प्रलयस्थानं
निधानं
बीजमव्ययम्
बीजमव्ययम्
Sapam yahamaham varsham nigrihan yasrujami cha.
तपाम्यहं
तपाम्यहं वर्षं
सदं
निगृणामि
वर्षमि च
सृजामि च
Amritam chaiva mrityuscha sadasacchahamarjuna.
अमृतं चैव
मृत्युश्च
मृत्युश्च
सदसच्चाहमर्जुन
Trai Traividya mam somapaputta papa yajnirishta swargatim prarthayante.
त्रैविद्यामां सोमपाः यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते
यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते
Te punyamasadya surendralokam ashnanti divyanti videva bhogan.
ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिविदेव भोगान्
देवभोगान्
Tetam bhuktva sargalokam vishalam क्षीणे पुण्ये मृत्युलोकं विशन्ति.
ते भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालम् क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति
विशन्ति
एवं त्रयीग मनुपत्प्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकामालबन्धे.
एवं
एवं त्रयीधर्माम् अनुप्रपन्नाम्
कामशतं
कामकामलभन्ते
अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो माम् ये जना पर्युपासते
अनन्या
अनन्याश्चयन्तो
चिन्तयन्तो माम् ये जना पर्युपासते
तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्
तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां
अभियुक्तानाम्
योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्.
So going back to the 16th stanza where we were interrupted last time because of the internet. Um, so what are the key takeaways from there, right? The question that was, he says that I am the Vedic ritual. I'm everything. I'm the sacrifice. If you remember, we talked about the fact that everything that forms part of the Vedic ritual, he says, I'm all of that. So essentially, all of these stanzas, right, including the ones that are going to follow, are all pointers to what the divinity is all about. And he gives different examples, right? So we can take it, as I said, in terms of when we make food, all the things that are part of the food ritual, when we use our computers, when we sit on a laptop and do things, everything. So we have to take this and build it into our own lifestyle every day, what we do, and take the sense of the symbolism. So this is just an example to say, this is where I am in everything. But we can take it in terms of every activity, including taking bath, including when we, what you call doing the prayers, when we are actually doing our work, everything. And even when we travel, right? Everything you can look at it. So that was the essence of this one. And so basically, if you it builds on these things in this, in the 17th stanza. 17th stanza goes even at a home level. He says, I am the Pitamaha, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the great grandfather, all the ancestors. So here we have to understand that what is he saying in all of this? Father, mother, the entire sense. Like in this meditation, right? Guruji talked about the fact that we are made up of our genes, our DNA is made up of all our ancestors. So where are they? They are in me, actually, in some sense, right? Because I am made up of all of them. So here he's saying that, I basically, who's the father caretaker of the house? That's the way to look at it. And then a mother is the supporter. So you can look at it from another angle, right? So for every action that we do, right, there are two causes, primary causes as they call it, right? There is what's called as efficient cause, and there is a material cause. Material cause is, let's say, if you're making a potter making a pot, right? For him, the mud or the clay is the material cause. Now, the art of making the pot into a pot, with all whatever uniqueness, etc., comes the efficient cost, the talent or the skill of doing it. So, essentially, in the stanza, when he talks about mother, father, etc., each of them have a certain role. Somebody is providing the material cost of it, somebody is providing the efficient cost of it. He says here, I am both. So, I'm both the so therefore in this whole world of plurality that we live in, everything, all the causes, that you do every day, it is me. So cause of every effect. So we look at everything that is happening now. Can I say that this happened only because of him? Hmm? So like there is a um, there is a car, there is a petrol, and then there is a driver. Each one of them provide a certain part of the cost, isn't it? Somebody, the petrol is a material cost. How I drive it with the ignition, with the steering wheel, with the brakes, etc. You, the driver. So similarly, each and everything, there are both these causes are there. So that is what he's saying. And then he uses the word Vedyam. Vedyam. What is Vedyam? Vedyam means the thing to be known. Now, here you might ask, what is the thing to be known, right? There's so many things to be known, right? Materialistically, my job, my talent, something about all the skills required to get my job done. That is, but here he's talking about the ultimate thing to be known. So the ultimate truth. So knowing and that truth is the primary cause for all the other knowledge to be known. So for me to pick up a certain talent, right? For that knowledge to be embedded in me, as a talent. For somebody says, you're good at this, you're good at that. How is that happening? It is because of him. He's saying ultimately, I am the seed for even the knowledge that you're seeking, for it to get imbibed in you as a talent. It is me. That is what he's saying. It is in the presence of this knowledge, of this truth, based on which all the other knowledge that we think about, PhD in this, or a master's in this, or specialization in this, that we all talk about, I have this, I have that. All that is him. So that is what he's saying. So if you look at certain words, pitahamaha, jagataha, mata data, pitamaha. Pitamaha here is not only, is the ultimate, let's go, if you go back in your family tree thousands and thousands of years, right? The root of it. Who's the root of it ultimately, if we see? We say Veda Vyasa, from where everything, the whole family started, and all the Gotras, all the rishis, branched off from there, based on which, we have a certain Gotra based on a certain rishi, right? That's how, in our family tree, if you see. So imbibing that. So he's saying, go back to that thing. So here you have, when he says Pitamahat, worship that ultimate, root of all the Pitamahas based on which you are where you are. So and then he talks about the purifier. Pavitram Omkaraha. Omkara is, as you know, the primordial sound. Each of the three, the first, the whole universe is vibrating with that particular energy. The three syllables are O and M. And that is based on which all syllables, all words are made up of. So it is a purifier. Chanting it is purifying. It charges the entire, environment around you, and so forth. So realizing that. So then Pavitra Monkar, Rik Sama Yajurevacha. And the three Vedas are also me. So this he has said this multiple times, right? So it is again in the context of this one. Is all of these are saying when you chant Vedas, Vedas are what? Vedas are Shruti, right? They've all been heard, they've all been downloaded. Rishis meditating at the highest level, it was all downloaded to them, and that then they transmitted, shared it with their disciples, and that's how we get to know a little bit about whatever they did. Now, how, but ultimately, rishis were just an instrument through which everything got known to us. But the source of it is what? Him. So therefore, I am that also. So basically, everything, therefore, is in me. That's a way to look at it, right? Everything that you know. So these are all just simple pointers. You can look at these as pointers, and these pointers are given just like the previous stanza, all the instruments. Similarly here, the things, all of them, we have to just put it as, these are been given examples so that we imbibe everything that we do every second, in our life, day-to-day life as a living organism is him. Okay, so we go now to the 17th, 18th stanza. Yeah. So he goes beyond that also. Now he's going to go into other things. Gatir Batta Prabhuk Sakshi. So a goal. He says, I'm the goal. So when he says, I'm the goal, you can see it in multiple ways. How does a thought of a goal come to you? For that matter, any thought, how does it come? How does a thought come into us? how does that thought get sustained, and how does that God, thought go away, and another thought comes in is Him. So the thought, manifests itself into a goal that you do. That is one way to look at it. Second way to look at it, I'm the ultimate goal for everybody. Sooner or later, even a person who is not a spiritual person, we realize that, they have to come to me. So whether you see it from a materialistic angle or you see it from a spiritual angle, I am the ultimate goal. Hmm. And then supporter. Supporter means what? Same thing, right? Anything for you to support yourself, to sustain yourself, there is a requirement. So if you take therefore origin of anything, sustenance of everything. I mean, that's how we talk, right? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti. Right? Here he's referring to the same way in different words. The origin, sustenance, dissolution. So anything that, has an origin has to perish. Right? So that perishing part of it. So that's the reason he will say that, and then he goes on to look at this as witness. This witness is a very beautiful word, right? We all understand witness. Witness by becoming a witness of everything that is happening. What is a witness, right? Witness is somebody who's just from the side looking at what is happening, right? So as you go deeper and deeper into spirituality, right, you become aware that I am going through this particular emotion. I am going through a doubt in my mind. Why am I thinking like this? That awareness of the fact that that is what somewhere sitting from an outside observing yourself. Why am I looking, why am I thinking negatively like this? And these questions that are coming in my mind, that sort of just a foot aware, becoming aware of the things that are happening in you. um, So, so when we think about even a thought that is coming, why did this thought come to me? That emotion that is coming, to becoming a witness more and more. And when you become a witness, what happens that when that awareness dawns, right, you can make the right calls, right? Whether you want to sustain the thought, whether you want to say, I want to get rid of this thought, whatever it is, you can quickly do. More often than not, we are not aware of the certain thing. We don't become witness, and sooner or later we become regretful of whatever if negative things happen. Right? That's what he's referring to here. So the ultimate, so witness is ultimately what is the illuminator of that thought. So here, you know, just that word sakshi here, which is the witness here, he's just asking us to imbibe that. Then he says that um, I'm also a treasure chamber. So if you see the word treasure house, what is a treasure house? If you see here, nidhanam, bijam, avyayam, the imperishable seed, the seed, ultimate seed for everything. You take any seed for your thoughts, seed, as in the seed of, all the things that are happening in your home that you do. You can take it as a materialistic seed or seed from a subtle form. Everything is Him. So all of this, if you look at it, right? So what the word treasure chamber, let's understand it. What is a treasure chamber? Treasure chamber means He is the one that is fulfilling your desires, right? I have a certain thing, right? There are, Guruji has said that, when you want, there are people who are, not spiritual seekers. For them, certain desires come. It does manifest. But for a person who is evolved, before even the thought comes up, it is getting done. So each and everything that you and I have or is being given, we think I got it because of this. That has been given to us, right? Um, Not based on what I want, it is what you need. So it's different, right? What I want sometimes is something that, at a higher level is maybe what is not required for this particular time, or maybe this is not the right time. But what you need at this time is given absolutely by him. That chamber of every soul or everything, every living being getting provided what is required at a particular time, that is what is referred to as a treasure chamber here. So manifesting therefore of desires. So the more and more, we are, we do a sadhana, we do prayers, we connect, and we connect in the ways that we, were covered in the last two stanzas, right? In terms of our actions and all that stuff. The more and more, the blessings come in terms of desires getting manifested. It's not again that, everything that I wish is going to happen. So what we require is going to And this thing about, right, when you, let's say we did the meditation or you do a little lot of chanting, etc., what happens, right? Somewhere, you feel so content, you feel so pure. Sometimes you are in your true nature. That true nature, as we call it. What is true nature? Somewhere, there is only right thoughts come to you. You almost are, in sort of a very contented, centered space. That space is when you're deeply, deeply connected with your truest self. That is what he's referring to here. So, therefore, pretty much, right, if you look at all of these answers, he's the enabler of everything. The origin, the dissolution, the treasure house, the seed, what everything's happened. The word's refuge. The word refuge, right, that comes in here, or the shelter as they call it. Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit. Yeah, there are two words here we should talk about. Refuge. Refuge means what? I surrender to him. And when you surrender to him, you call it, the word Sharanagati is used, right? That, no, I have a problem. I have done everything possible, right? And I refuge. Now, when I take refuge, the question is, should I be worrying about it? If somebody, he says clearly this was, I'm going to take care of things, right? Should I be worrying? See, we do that a lot, right? Sometimes I say I went to this temple because somebody said do this or do this puja, do something, or you've done whatever you have done possible. But what we do typically, we still worry. Oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. The word refuge here means he's the best caretaker possible. Your worry, my worry is not going to do any difference. In fact, we are only dissipating our energy by worrying. So by refuge, it is total surrender. It is not giving up. It is surrender. Surrender means he is going to take care of it at whatever the right time is. So the thing learning for all of us is that, we worry for a lot of piddly things. Either my son, my daughter, my health, somebody's health, etc., etc. I'm not saying, and we have to do our duty, no question about all of that stuff. But the question is, after you have done some things, you realize that it is certain things are beyond your reach. And even for the things that are within your reach, also he is doing the blessing. But let's say there are certain things that are beyond your reach. Somebody is so ill that nothing can be done by you. We just say, you please take care of it. At that time, can we just totally surrender? That means not really, even if that worry comes, it comes for a very short while, saying he is taking care. That's it. Even if somebody puts a doubt, have you done this, etc., I've done it. It's up to him now. That is that's the word, that's how we should imbibe the word refuge. And then that suhrit. Suhrit means friend. We all have friends, right? The best friend possible today could become one of your not so wanted friends later on. Could be an enemy. And somebody who's an enemy today could become your best friend. He comes in and help at the dire need. So those are passing friends. Here, when he says friend, He is there all the time. He's available to you all the time. In all your worst needs, he is available. Right. So that kind of a thing, right? From the time I'm born till the time I leave this body, he's available as a friend. You see, all our friends, they have been there. Some school friends are there, they've come and gone. College friends have come and gone. Some stayed on, right? But this person is all the time there. So how we can build that friendship with him is through connecting, is through these practices, right? So it's not a physical friend, right? Physical friend is where I can make a call or I can chat. This friend is in an invisible form. And only way to imbibe that invisible form is by remembering him in all the things that we do. You become his friend. So all of these he's saying, right? You can take it ultimately. So when a friend comes, the other part of it is that he's close to you. So sometimes we think he's sitting in the heaven, he's somewhere else. I and him are different. So he's saying, I'm friend is also to say I'm very close to you. So all of these, is Swami Chirmand, all of them saying all of these are, it's like arrows, pointers. We just have to, at least if not all of them, imbibe some of them and say, what does it convey? Okay, we'll go to the next verse, 19th. Here he gives, okay, I take care of everything. You do whatever you want. I'm not a stopper, it's your free will. But I do have some control. That's the example he gives here. Tapam yahamaham vasham nigrihan is nisrajamicha. Right? So he takes example that, I am the one as sun who gives you the heat. And with that heat, the water, that's in the atmosphere or in the ocean, etc., evaporates, and ultimately it comes forth as rain. Correct. That whole thing is a secret, how it all happens. It is not that we're getting rain all the time. Rain comes only at a certain time. And it's not that every rainy season, every day rain comes, it comes only at certain, so there is some level of say in how this happens. Right. Some years we get a lot of rainfall, some years we don't get any rainfall, there's a drought. And some places get a lot of rain, some places don't get any rain at all. So somewhere he's got the switch. So here he's just telling us, I have that switch, at least as far as the environment is concerned, at least as far as nature is concerned. Respect that, right? And the more you're connected with me, the more I'm going to be the provider of all of these things. So this is like, that switch is what, like a businessman, who gives a lot of authority to his subordinates to do things. But when it comes to getting funds for something or writing a check, he has to sign it. Same here. This person is writing the check as far as certain things in nature are concerned. So when we say, cruelty, this has not happened, there is a hardly any rainfall, drought here, etc., etc., right? And people do all this japams, etc., in certain places for rainfall to occur. All that is fine, but in for things to happen in nature in a harmonious fashion, I have to also be in connect with that nature. If you go back to the third chapter, right, third chapter, we talk about the word yakya, where everything is connected. So the more, I don't know if you remember the wheel of karma, right? I eat the food, that based on the food, the next generation is born. Who gives the food? Rain. Who gives the rain? Right? Remember that whole, wheel that we talked about. That wheel, if that somebody is not imbibing that wheel, it leads to problems, society problems, health problems. Where nature for what it's supposed to be doing is not happening. excessive heat, excessive cold, rainfall not happening, etc. He's just giving that example with this particular thing, heat, that there are certain things I hold the switch. So be in the space with me. So that is what he's referring to. And then he's saying, I am the one who's giving the immortality. Somebody who's going through a lot of tapas, who's doing a lot of penance, doing all the sadhanas, etc. That person goes to a realized state, and doesn't have to take birth, punarjanma. Or somebody who's not following it, but still, when the death has to occur, in what form the death has to occur, I take care of it. And then both existence and non-existence, right? How do you see this one? Existence and non-existence. Existence, anything that is available in a manifest form, also the unmanifest form. Everything is just me. So if you look at all of this, good or bad, what we consider as good and bad, right? I would, somebody might say this thing is good, good rainfall is good. Somebody might say good rainfall is bad. But as far as the divine is concerned, right? If he is the ultimate giver, he is the ultimate friend. Is he going to do anything bad at all? Let's ask ourselves, right? As far as from the higher level, everything is done for the right purpose. You and I, because of our perception of certain things, we term it under the word good and bad. Right? Something that is, per my liking, etc., I call it good. Something that's per not my liking, I call it bad. But as far as the divine is concerned, he's blessing us, he's making things happen through nature, etc., in our lives for what is necessary, for what is good according to him. Now, the good might be a harsh statement for all of us to learn. That is what he's saying. So, therefore, he's in complete control. So, if you look at this verse, what does it say? Yeah, I'm everything that I talked about earlier. But remember, I have that switch for everything that happens. I give you the freedom, but you cannot just keep on doing things per your thing. Right? So free will is given, but you have to also use your free will, through a lot of wisdom, through some knowledge. You just can't say, I'll keep on committing crimes, like I'll keep on doing things per my wish, etc. I will have a say in it at some point. You will be given a lesson. So whenever I am given a lesson, it is, for us to imbibe and say, there is a good reason why God has given me this lesson. That's what this says. We can take it as punishment. We can take it as, but we take it as, he's giving us a message. That's what the importance of this, or the essential message of this particular stanza. To the 20th verse. The 20th, 21st, 22nd, all of them are connected. So the first one, those people who are conversant with three Vedas, Trividya. People who are the three Vedas, again, as I said, I am the originator of the three Vedas. But people who are conversant with the three, that means they have done some scripture reading, they do some chanting, etc., all of that. So that means they have gotten some punya. And they've also got some, papa based on maybe their misinterpretation or maybe not doing those things properly, whatever. They have got a mixture of both of them. They, having gotten this, right, at some point, they worship me through all these sacrifices. When I say sacrifices, yajna is all considered as a sacrifice, all of them. They, you know, at the end of their body life, they come and reach me in those different, this is heaven. But here we have to understand that word heaven as what all the, one of the earliest stanzas we talked about in the 8th chapter, different layers of that heaven itself, depending on where you are. Are you a senior scientist, or are you a scientist, or are you a, technical excellent person. I mean, we we have titles in our office, right? Depending on your tech ladder or a manager ladder, based on that, you get given a certain position. You're given a certain place in the office, right? Similarly, here, you're given an abode in a particular place after your death. So those people come in that particular abode. And they come and so here he says that they worship me with all the sacrifices based on their punya. They come to a particular loka, and there they are given whatever, obviously they are going to a higher abode, so they're given all learnings, all, they get to enjoy, right, based upon their punyas that they're doing. Now, having gotten there, he continues in the next stanza. Why is it that having gone there, you have to come back? Let's take a very simple example, right? Let's say you and I go to, let's say, especially the summertime, winter time, maybe not, maybe summertime. Let's say we go to Kodaikanal or Ooty or something, right? When we go with a certain budget, you take your family and say, I'm going to go to this 3-star hotel or 4-star hotel, whatever it is, with a certain budget. I can pay for only 3 days here, etc., in this particular place, etc. And after you finish, your pocket is empty. When I say pocket is empty, that means your budget is taken care of. What do? You come back. Same here. The pocket is what of budget is all the punyas that you accumulated in this particular birth. So I have left this body. I go, based on the punyas of, let's say, whatever interest that you have gotten, let's call it in the bank, that interest has been taken care of because I bought this, I bought that, etc., etc. But that interest income is gone. I have to come back and accumulate more interest, more punya. I have to come back to this, human life again in another form, in another place, in another family, and continue that cycle. The reason he's saying this particular thing is that, people who are in the Vedas, they are doing good work, etc., but they are still to go in terms of, you know, reaching the highest abode. If you remember Brahmaloka, remember that word Brahmaloka, etc., that came in the earlier chapter. Going beyond that Brahmaloka, they have realized me, they have connected with me, they are with me, they are united with me. They are not there yet. So they are doing good work. They are definitely, progressing. Lot more ritualism here than, the words ritualism comes much more here than meditation and other things, right? So they are doing good work. They are invoking me. They are reading scriptures, doing shlokas, chanting, everything. So they come and they come back. So on the other hand, so here what we have to understand, right? Let's understand a little bit about what happens, right, when we go through that particular phase, right? The word swarga. What does swarga mean? Guruji says that swarga has got the is means is swarga means self. Is the word swarga. There is one is called the self. So being with your truest nature. What is your truest nature ultimately? It's the self. So when we talk about Swarga, etc., right, it is, it's just a different plane of existence, right? It's not a physical entity, etc. We've talked about this before. It is just being in a different realm where my thought process, my way of interaction with people, the way I handle situations, even though from the outside I look exactly the same, is different. My happiness quotient is different. The way I handle challenges is different, right? So that particular thing. So everybody ultimately has to go to that heavenly board, but the person is not liberated. And when the person is not liberated, he or she, comes from that abode back into the worldly realm and continues the journey. And sooner or later, some based on the work that they do and fulfillment of their, karmas, etc., ultimately they reach, but that is at a later date. So here, few things, right? If you see the word, he uses the word, three Vedas were there. And then he says devatas. So whenever we talk about devatas are what? Devatas um, are the energy forces that govern things happening in nature or things that are happening in your own body, right? Devas, devatas can club it into one. So we call the Vayu Devata, Indra Devata, Varuna Devata, all of that, right? So these people that we're talking about, these stanzas, are ones who are invoking them much more. They are slightly more on the um, wanting something from it for their own thing. So that part, if you see it from a karma yoga standpoint, or if you see it from an intent, there is a bit of a selfishness aspect also in there. There's something that I want based on which I'm doing this, right? So to them, there is an arrival and departure date. That is a key thing that is coming in this. So few things, right? What we've talked about this, I think, earlier also, but maybe it's good to touch upon. So what happens when there is a did I go beyond time here? Yeah, let's just touch upon this quickly and then we wrap up. What happens when we leave the body? Briefly, right? Um, you know, there are five senses, right? There's a touch, there is a taste, there is a smell. Or they all go in different sequences. First, the touch goes, the taste goes, the smell goes. What remains though is seeing and hearing. And that remains even after the body, soul leaves the body. So it's almost like this, right? That word witness will be very clear here. You just think of it, the soul has left the body, it is away from the body. It is almost like it is a witness to, it sees the body here, but it finds a lot of peace. I'm outside of all this trouble. None of these problems that I had yesterday with this person, that person, etc. There, I am peaceful in Nirvana. I can see everybody down there, I can hear it, but I can't interact. I can't speak, right? And so, and this is there for some time. I don't know whether it is for days or hours, whatever, but that energy is there for some time. So it is, and that is the reason it is not that the body is completely dead, right? If you see from even from physical body standpoint, there is a lot of warmth still in the body. It's only after some time that the body gets cold. I mean, these days people put that into an ice chamber, etc. But I'm saying if you leave the body as it is, the heat is still there. So that soul, when you see that from the body perspective, it is almost like a witness. If you look back at the Ramana Maharshi, right? If you look at his biography somewhere, even when he was 16 itself, he was sleeping in his bed and he just felt that, his body, he was above his body. That he was seeing the body as, is this my body? Am I separate from the body? So he went spiritual, very spiritual. He went, he was able to witness a lot of things as a witness power when he was just 16 years old, and that's when he decided that he has to leave the home. Um, where his mother was not very happy, but he left and went to Arunachala, right? So here, there he was living and he witnessed it. Here we have left the body, and now the soul is witnessing that particular. So what happens? Guruji has talked about this in briefly, right? The soon after you leave, it's almost like you get a flashback of your entire life in that particular body, from the beginning till the end. Everything that happened, it's like a flashback. From the birth, almost you recollect everything in a snapshot. Then you, of course, later meet your kith and kin that have left the body and that are who are in a different realm, your ancestors, etc. And if you have a guru in the life, the guru himself or herself guides you to whichever loka you have to go. So this is what I've heard and want to share with you. There is a energy or a guru in whatever form. So that's the reason it said that even if a guru is there in a physical form now, the guru is there in multiple realms. Right? It is not that the guru has to left the body and sitting there. Even if your physical guru is alive, that guru is also there in multiple realms. So even in the realm of, let's say, in the soul realm, whatever if you call it that way, he's still there. He guides that soul to be taken to the right abode based upon the punya and so forth. So what does that punya, etc. here mean? Two factors is what I understood. One is how much love did you give while you were in this body? How much love, compassion did you give? Second is how much knowledge and how much wisdom did you pick up while living? Two key aspects based on which, depending on the grade, senior scientist, whatever technologist, etc., one is taken to that abode. Okay, I think we will stop here. We will continue next week. Any thoughts? I think. Oh,
You want to stop the recording, sir? Oh.
yeah. Let me just stop the recording here.